Oh yeah, and welcome to episode 72 of the Temple Bar podcast with me, Jim Wynn and Philip Noone. Today we have the honour of being joined by Mr. Ray Heffernan.
Hello.
How's it going, Ray?
Thanks a million for coming in, Ray.
Ray,
a pleasure.
It's a pleasure for us.
It's a pleasure for us. Ray is one of Ireland's best songwriters. He's been around for years. He's, of course, there's one song in particular that we're probably going to talk about more than others.
About that one,
yeah, but he's written some great songs. Take Your Hands Off the Wheel, that one.
Let Go of the Wheel.
Let Go of the Wheel, yeah.
Thank you for remembering that.
Yeah, I remember because Jazz Finnegan, who ran the Zodiac sessions, he used to have it tattooed on him.
That's right. Yeah,
and then since then I remember listening to it and I loved it. It's a real song of...
it's cool. That was that song that I wrote that in like 2002. I wrote that in Stansted Airport.
Right.
I was coming home. I had a choice between go to work for me da or go to Italy and start and play in a gig. And I was sitting there all night. And you know, one of those songs that I didn't have a guitar. I just kind of sat there and it just came.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then all I had to do was go home, pick up the guitar, and it was just there. You know
they're the ones that tend to be they're the best ones.
Did you go and do the gig or did you go home and work?
I went to the gig.
if you had gone home to work, you probably wouldn't be here today.
Exactly.
Well, that's it.
Or I'd be fixing your computer.
Yeah. That's mad, isn't it? And it is a song. It's a kind of a song of surrender, isn't it? Really.
Well, yeah.
Did you think about that at the time, or was it just? Sometimes you write a song and you only really realise what it's about after.
Yeah, it is one of them, and thankfully it has one of those choruses that it's kind of a mantra: close your eyes, make a wish, da 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 da. And wherever I play it in the world, people seem to sing along with it. You know, one of them. So it just kind of followed me. It's been really good to me, and every time a new life experience or something else happens, it gives it a new meaning. You know what I mean? But I think that's an important message anyway. Letting go of the wheel is what it's all about.
Yeah,
really,
it's changing.
Yeah.
And it's changed because we did our episode last week. We only posted it today. It was about, we called it The Landslide because it's about that song by Fleetwood Mac.
What a song!
And how it's about change and how trying to hang on to what has to change is the difficult thing. It's letting go of the wheel. Like it's kind of ties in.
That's it. Yeah. And a song like that. Thank you for putting it in that category, but Landslide, what a song. You know what I mean? And even that, like at every stage of your life, it makes has new sense and new meaning to it, Yeah. But I think that's what songs should be. You know what I mean?
And all art, really. It's you can see it differently from a different perspective as we.
But I like what you said there. Like sometimes you write stuff and you understand it years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like because when you're going through something, you don't really know what it is, but then when you have a bit of perspective and you look back, oh, right, and songs really help that, to kind of understand the lyrics, But what do you think? Like, is there confirmation bias in that? You know what I mean? Like sometimes if you kind of repeat something and make it a mantra, are you manifesting that experience?
Probably, probably to some extent. I think when you said like when you were in the airport and it all came to you in one go, I think then when songs come like that, it's because you're an open channel. And of course, it takes parts of whatever you're going through at the time and it puts it into the song. But maybe as the open channel, you're not judging or thinking about what the meaning of it is. You're just letting it flow through you. And then later on, looking back, you can see the picture of who you were and while the song came through.
Yeah.
That kind of...
Well, funny enough, because I only had that kind of similarly today. I remember being in my early 20s and I had this experience. I was going out with a girl at the time and I remember listening to Fields of Gold by Sting. And I remember having this moment with the song in my head and the relationship thinking, how long will this last? How long will this relationship last? Will this be a case of in 40 years I'm listening to this song still with this person, or because you never know how long. So it was like, will I still have that experience? And this morning I came home and was having a cup of coffee. And I was like,
and it brought you back to that moment.
How much of the world has changed since I thought that in that moment?
Yeah.
And just it's wild.
Yeah.
It's funny how it brings you back to that moment.
Songs are time machines.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You go straight back there and live it again, live the emotion again. Yeah, it's mad.
Have you seen there's a documentary about Alzheimer's and how they use music. They bring like people who are Alzheimer's who don't know anybody from their family, while they play songs from their childhood, they can remember things. Often they can remember things like perfectly lucidly.
Normally,
it's like an anchor that brings you back to.
They can sing along as well. Like normally they know all the words and they can.
Music unlocks it. Yeah, definitely. Actually, funny. I just finished a song on that subject called Islands. Check it out, right? think back to that moment, like, you know, maybe at a party at 17 where you made an idiot of yourself, or a girl you met when you were 20, or your Deb's night or something. You know what I mean? These kind of poignant moments we have throughout our lives, right? That, okay, and when you think back to them, you kind of relive that emotion and stuff. So maybe that was a Tuesday night or a Saturday night or something. You don't remember the Friday before or the Thursday after.
Yeah.
You remember that as an island, right? And as we age, the more islands we have, but the more water around it, all those empty Tuesdays and forgotten Sundays, you know, that's the water around it, you know. So I'm thinking, so we have those islands, and when you have Alzheimer's, maybe, just maybe, you're just kind of floating in the open sea, just kind of waiting, and occasionally you feel solid ground underneath you, and you interact as you were on that island.
Yeah.
You know
That's
beautiful.
That's
lovely.
lovely.
Right?
That's beautiful.
That is
so I just finished the song.
lovely.
I'll leave it, which is the song after. I'm really happy with the song, and that's it's going to be the name of my new album. I think I want to do a vinyl of songs like that, songs that have stayed with me. You know what I mean? Over however many years and stuff, islands in my life. You know what I mean? And just kind of.
It's an interest. It's because when you say islands, it is those islands that stick out for us. Like the whole life isn't. We can't remember every minute of it. Like maybe just the things that are, I would say, things for us to work on or things that we can grow from. They're the islands. But also, when you take all the sea out, it is still all connected. Like it's, do you know what I mean? You can, and through different ways, you can go sub the sea. You can go underneath the sea, and you can find like other memories and stuff. I find I've had a lot in the last few years having like random memories of things that weren't really important. It didn't seem important. Like I remember getting shouted, like someone's granny shouting when I'm standing beside a tree when I'm 6. Like there's no real anchor to why I would remember that, but just a random memory like that. I found a lot of them. So I wonder if that's like some of the seeing beneath the ocean, that all the islands are connected in some way.
Absolutely, like the mushroom theory. You know, mushrooms grow at the same rate on both sides of the earth. You know what I mean? So that's why like people can sometimes have the same idea. Like fire, for example, was found on 2 different continents on roughly the same time of human evolution. So
Dennis the Menace was created. 2 different Dennis the Menace characters were created in America and the UK, or in America and the UK on the same day.
There's actually a scientific experiment. It's called morphic resonance, where they take rats in one continent of the world and they put them through a maze, and after one set of rats has learned that maze properly, rats in other parts of the world find it easier to go through the maze. You know, it's like if they start them both at the same
bank of knowledge.
it's like something is stored in the
just collective consciousness
record or species record.
But isn't that what we call instinct?
Collective consciousness,
collective memory. You know what I mean? It's like thousands or millions and millions of years of evolution. We call it instinct, but it's actually collected memory. Isn't it? You know, like we instinctively know. Like children hate green vegetables because green is poison. You know, before
people knew what was.
You know what I mean. So be careful. Be careful of the green. You know, that's why the human eye can identify 200 different shades of specifically green. Right. Yeah. Because in the jungle, when we were evolving, you had to see the predator in the you know among the green and stuff. So we can distinguish that. That's why we're drawn to symmetry, because the eyes of the predator move in symmetry. You know what I mean? 11-11.
Pattern recognition.
Don't say 11-11 to him. Look, show him.
Stories about that. Man, you're gonna love this. Oh man, that's wild.
Well, if the best one about it is World War II ended at 11-11 on the 11th of the 11th.
Is that deliberate though?
It might have been. But
at 11-11.
Yeah, I think it was at 11-11 on the 11th.
I finished the video once on the 11th of November 2011. And after we finished it, we watched the clock go 11-11. Now you could call that, oh wow, man.
Yeah.
Or I was aware of that, and I was in the cafe going, look. You know what I mean? So there's an element of.
Well, I think they don't have to be mutually exclusive. I think there is. It's really what I don't think that. Like for me, it's not like the number that means anything. It's like what I feel when I see it. It's not like it started off with 11-11. Now I see it in different numbers all the time.
333.
I see like sometimes I see 12-21 and it's a mirror of itself, like or stuff like that. And it's not really. I don't really say like that number itself means something. It's just it just creates a connection in my head.
Yeah,
when
of
I
course,
realise that
of
it's
course.
connected somewhere, you know?
It's the world behind the world.
And sometimes I'll probably see 11-11 and I'll just go,
Yeah, no, yeah. No, 11-11 is like, and we'll talk about it, but Is it 11:11? Is that the number of the angel to you?
They say people say that. Well, what I say it is, I think it's just like we're a world full of people, but it's all just a reflection of the same one. So there's only one consciousness, just reflected in different mirrors, and we're all different mirrors of the same consciousness.
Right,
That's
reflections
how I
of
look
life.
at it. Yeah, so it's like it's one reflected infinite times. Say.
Wow.
That's how I look at it.
Yeah, no, because do you ever see the front of the Globe?
No, I don't think so.
It's 11 Georgia Street. And on the
Oh,
front
yeah, I have.
is
I played in there
11,
before,
11, and the fact that that's the pub where I met Robbie Williams.
Yeah.
You know, and it says 11:11 on the front.
Does
you
it?
know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been in there. I've played in there. I never noticed.
They've
the
only
other
recently reopened it as well.
Yeah, yeah.
It was in there a couple of months ago.
end. Yeah, it's
It's
crazy.
still the same as it used to be. I'm going in later.
So it's more of a late bar now. So now I think it opens till 3 or 4.
was a
I don't
fella-
want to get them in trouble, but I think it opens till about 3 or
There was
4.
a fella who used to run an open mic in there. I did a few times. Can't remember what his name was. I think he owns a publishing company now or something. Last I heard, I think he moved
That's
to America.
right. I know the guy.
Yeah.
Can't remember.
He was a
his name.
sound guy. I can't remember his name either. But
So Ray, the early 90s in Dublin,
Yeah.
beautiful time to be alive.
Yeah.
You had the commitments,
Yeah.
you had the explosion of all that live music, and everybody on the scene knew everybody else.
Yeah.
Glenn Hansard was the guitar player in the Commitments, outspan Foster.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and like I know Larry Hogan, probably one of the best session guitar players in the country. He was in it like all, and you know that explosion and everybody on the Dublin scene. It was just a beautiful time to be playing music.
Hugely, hugely. And like that's the school I came from. You know what I mean? That's like the Malloys, the International Bar. You know, there was kind of a circuit of original music. You know, like you say, Glenn Hansard, Declan O'Rourke, Damien Rice, Damien Dempsey,
Paddy Casey,
Gemma Hayes. You know what I mean? So
Monday and all
any given Monday, Tuesday night, you were following these people around and not following them around, but you know, sharing the stages with them.
Mick Christopher was singing on Grafton Street. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's a second cousin of mine, but anyway.
Is he?
Yeah. My cousin is Robert Christopher, and Mick was his cousin. Wow. I only knew
Another
that
great
after,
songwriter.
Yeah. And iron sharpens iron. You know, so if you turn up at songwriting nights and you see that Glenn Hansard is doing that and Damien Russ, so you go home and you okay, how am I going to impress these bastards?
Yeah.
So
It's a motivation.
and you say okay, and you learn different chord techniques and even lines and how to interact with an audience. That was school. You really
yeah.
You know,
that's something you only get from.
yeah.
It's actually, I remember the Zodiac sessions was probably the last of that. For a while then it was like you'd go in and you'd play and everyone would be quiet. But even towards the end of that, people were just chatting. Like it was like a noisy pub.
The few times I went in, it was kind of acoustic karaoke. You know what I mean? Which was disappointing. But yeah, like you know, when it first started, it started down in the Legal Eagle with jazz.
Oh yeah, I was parked there.
Yeah.
I was parked outside there when I went in town. Yeah.
And that's where it started, and then he brought it up to the Zodiac, and it became, because of the Zodiac Bar, it became the Zodiac Sessions. But Wallace Bird used to come in there like all the time. Actually, when I first started, it was £100 winning prize, like, you know, whoever got the best audience reaction got €100.
Oh, yeah?
You know, and Wallace Bird used to clean up every week. You know, she's incredible.
Wallace
But in the mid 90s, so you found yourself one night in the Globe.
I did.
Like
man.
at that point of your life, because I've seen snippets of the story. Like at that point of your life, were you a bit of a wild man?
Probably. Now, from 93 to 96, I was living in France.
Right.
I went over to live in a Christian community. I was considering being a priest.
Right.
I'd always been kind of spiritual, you know what I mean? You know, when you grow up in Ireland in the 80s,
Yeah, it was
people say, go be a
you
priest,
two were
you
the
know what I
same,
mean?
yeah.
You know, so I thought that's what I was supposed to be on, or I was supposed to be doing. But then was preparing, studying theology and anthropology and sociology, and fell in love with a girl from Paris, beautiful girl, and we kind of broke up. We were living together, and when she had a miscarriage, she got pregnant, had a miscarriage, and so I left the community and came back to Dublin. So yeah, I think, you know, when I left that kind of spiritual kind of, you know, cloistered kind of life, I had no moral compass. You know what I mean? I was reliant on the church, and then I realized that's all. I'm not into that anymore. So I was just kind of cut loose. Yeah, exactly. I kind of cut loose, and I was,
And dealing obviously with because there is a lot of trauma associated with a miscarriage as well. So you're dealing with a lot of loss there as well.
Well, I think I was too young to know that then. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like, if anything, my impression at the time, and I don't want to sound harsh, but I was kind of relieved.
Oh no, of course,
You know what I mean? I was 21,
when
22,
you're
you
not
know,
ready for something,
exactly.
you would be,
You know, and I don't want to be, you know, it's a horrible thing to live, but
Well, you
at the
can't help
time-
out your natural feelings.
yeah,
you know,
exactly.
it's,
You know, so I was 21, 22, and just kind of hitting it. You know what I mean? Like playing music everywhere, drinking all over the place. It was at a time where ecstasy and MDMA was exploding. Everybody had it, and everybody was doing it. It wasn't really cocaine yet, but you know, it was just every night was drinking and doing something or other. You know,
Party favours.
yeah. And I had no moral compass. You know, so I was just kind of out on the town the whole. I didn't really have any direction either because I was living in France, but that had come to an end. So I didn't know what to do next, you know. And then, I'm in the Globe one night and a pop star walked in, you know what I mean? I didn't really know who he was because I'd been living in France, but there was that kind of buzz. Okay, there's Robbie Williams, you know what I mean? I was like, okay, whatever. And then, we got talking and drinking, and then we started, like, you know, with the pills or wherever we were on that night, you know, sharing poetry and stuff.
Yeah.
And,
It's the thing. It's one of the things about ecstasy is it does bring openness to it.
Yeah.
Like we talked about, there wasn't cocaine yet. Cocaine is like a, what can you do for me kind of.
yeah.
Well, let's start a business together.
It's
It's an ambitious drug.
Ecstasy
Whereas
ecstasy gives, cocaine takes.
Yeah, exactly. That's true. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, but it's probably something that helps dissolve the you're a pop star and I'm a struggling musician relationship. You know what I mean? It takes that face off it and it makes it maybe.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really feel that pop star thing at all. Like I said, I wasn't
You
really
didn't know,
aware
that's true,
of who he was or that. Like I knew very quickly. I kind of understood that this guy, because he crashed in my place that night, and you know I have 4 sisters, so they were like, "Oh my God, Robbie Williams," you know.
But imagine the Garrett's come down, Robbie Williams is in the gap. You know?
Yeah, he woke up before me and went down to the kitchen and said, "Hi, I'm Rob," and they're like. In their pajamas. Like they were used to like lads crashing and stuff in the house, but like, okay, you know, but so very quickly I realized, okay, then we were in the Talca house the next day, kind of continuing the session.
On the rollover.
Yeah, exactly, you know, and we were followed home by a group of girls and stuff, and I thought, okay, this is mad, you know, but cool, you know what I mean?
Of course.
Like, I didn't really think much about it. And that night we had written this song, or
was it the first night?
Yeah.
So it was the very first night the two of you sat down and wrote a song.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like we'll start a business. It wasn't the cocaine thing. It was like let's write a song.
Well, yeah. All night we were kind of bouncing poetry off each other,
right?
You know, and I'll tell you a story, right? We're in the Underground nightclub. I think it was called the Underground, somewhere in Temple Bar, and it's kind of a group of us sitting around, mashed, and a girl kind of came around the group like that and said to Robbie, Robbie was about to do a duet with somebody or something, and she said, I hear you're doing a duet with that guy. I think that's good because she's a cunt and you're a cunt too, right? And it was a real kind of whoa, and like he was really kind of affected by it, you know what I mean? So I ran through the club together. I said, fuck off, you know what I mean? This is my city, you know what I mean? He can't be, he's just a young fella on a night out. You know, go back and apologise to him, you know what I mean? So I made her go back and she apologised and stuff. And they ended up hugging it out and stuff and talking to each other for a while and stuff. And and then she left and stuff. And he said, oh, that's mad, man. You're like my guardian angel. And I went, wow, because I had been working on this thing, like, you know, angels instead, or an angel instead, due to the miscarriage, you know what I mean? Like, the Irish thing, you want to, you know, he's born an angel kind of thing. So, and then we started bouncing lyrics off each other and said, come on, let's go home, you know, full of E, and, you know, and let's write this song. Went back to my ma's place, recorded a version of it then, a dictaphone version. Then he contacted his A&R guy, and we went into a studio in Dublin and recorded a version of this.
The next
song.
day?
No, about 2 or 3 days later.
Right. Yeah. Oh, he was in Dublin for a few days.
Yeah, about 10 days, I think.
And we used together for the whole time,
inseparable.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, but like just kind of latched onto each other. We were walking.
Yeah, you know.
I was in Glasnevin and he was staying over in Donnybrook, so we were just kind of pub crawling it back and forward between north and south side and stuff, you know, and just hanging out, you know. And
it's
then the
kind
plan
of
was
fate in a way.
yeah. And then the thing I remember is the reaction to the song was kind of like Louis Walsh was listening to it, and Kieran Keating is I don't want to be dropping too many names, but they were all kind of going, oh, that sounds good, and interested in the theme of it and that. So yeah, but I didn't really think it's any.
Never could have seen what
Yeah,
was going
no,
on.
of course not. But the plan was then to write more songs together and to go over to London, like this following the Dríocht, following the world behind the world. I'd go to London, and this was my path now. I was still on this spiritual vibe, and but then by the time because I had to go back to Paris to get someone into my apartment and kind of get that rented, and then get me stuff and head over to London. Went over to London. And something had changed that I wasn't aware of, you know what I mean? But when I got to London, I rang a number. Robbie wasn't there. So I decided, fuck it, I'll go up to his ma's. I knew his ma was over in Dublin and stuff. So I thought, okay, I'll head up there and see what happens,
This is before there was...
His mum was in Dublin?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And this is before there was like WhatsApp groups and
yeah,
social media.
mobile
So you had to go
phones
and find people.
Yeah. But at the time, I used to hitchhike all over Europe. I wasn't really like that bothered about the hitchhiking part, Anyway, landed up in Stoke, and it was like, what are you doing here? It was like, what you
had
want.
made the plans to do.
And I was like, when you just feel like,
of course.
shit, I'm not welcome,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So they gave me a cup of tea and some money for a B&B, and I went to stay in the B&B and just went home, gutted.
Yeah.
Kind of thinking, okay, I don't know what happened, but something obviously happened, I now know that in the meantime, he had met Guy Chambers.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it was kind of, okay, they had obviously got on with it. And I thought that was it. I thought that was, okay, that was cool, but, he's doing his album now and I'll get on with my life and stuff. I got a job. I started working up in Gateway 2000 out in Coolock and stuff, selling computers to the French market. And then because I was kind of... out on the town the whole time, my parents were worried about me. They wanted to put me in kind of, into care, into rehab, and they put me into the Rutland Centre and stuff, and then because of my uncle had been through a similar situation, he knew the steps to take and stuff, and he says, what happened with that song with Robbie Williams? And I didn't know, like, I hadn't been released, hadn't been in touch. I hadn't been in touch or anything, This is like July 96. So he wrote to them, and they said, yeah, there's a song on the album called Angels, but Robbie says he...
Well, you see, at this time in his career, right, so June 96 in his career, he would have had Old Before I Die and things, and it wasn't, nothing was clicking for him. Nothing was clicking for him.
Yeah,
because
Gary Barlow was doing better, wasn't it?
Gary Barlow had Open Road and things like that, and like but nothing was clicking for Robbie because he had Freedom 96. He did a cover of the George Michael one, and there was nothing clicking. Like he wasn't the star he was supposed to be when he. Well, that's a bit unfair, but
Commercially successful.
I don't think his star exploded the way they thought it might have, being the first one out of a boy band. You know what I mean? Maybe.
Yeah.
If that was why he left the band, I don't know, but
Yeah, I don't know. Like I say, I didn't really know his career at the time. This was all before I Die came out. When we were hanging out together, he played me All Before I Die in the car. He played me a tape of it, and it sounded like cool. Kind of that Oasis style.
Yeah.
But it's an okay.
He seemed
song.
like, and this is looking from the outside because I remember the time I was young at the time, but he seemed to be kind of rejecting the boy band lifestyle and wanted to be more rock and roll.
He was desperate for that.
He had
been to Glastonbury and stuff.
Oasis,
you know what I mean?
and stuff,
But like I said, I knew nothing of that. It wasn't really part of that at all. But anyway, my uncle wrote to them and they said, yeah, there's a song on the album called Angels, and the demo we had recorded was Angels instead.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, can I hear the song? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Maybe there's something in it.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. So they hadn't reached out to you by then even at all?
No.
That's interesting. I didn't know that now.
Yeah. No, completely kind of... so anyway, negotiations happened and stuff, and they offered me... They said, no, it's Robbie's song. and he wrote it with Guy Chambers, and the ideas you had in Dublin are completely changed. So, you know, there's something about that, but it's not the same song. So okay, can I hear it? You know, and they made the mistake of sending me my demo back rather than let me hear their recorded version.
Okay,
That's a mistake.
You know?
that's a mistake.
Yeah.
So heads rolled that day.
No, but so they sent me my demo, so that's not that. And they said, look, we need to get this out. We'll give you $2,500 for your time and stuff, and then we'll talk about it later. And I said, well, I want my name on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I want my name on the record, thinking Heffernan and Williams, you know.
Yeah.
And they said, okay, well,
even Heffernan, Chambers, Williams.
Whatever.
But if it was your idea, it should be in there. Like
it should be, you know, it should have been. I know that now.
Well, we know. So we were just speaking about this 2 weeks ago. We're in an age now where you have 30 songwriters on a song.
I know. And so so it's hard to put your head into that paradigm, into the way things were. Like he had to be a songwriter.
Yeah.
You know, there was no chance that he could be just another pop act who wasn't writing his songs.
It was
He
that
had to
age
be a
was all songwriters. Yeah.
And he was competing against Gary Barlow. You know, so he had to be seen to be writing his own songs. It was absolutely mission critical. You know, he had to be seen as that. So yeah. And so then I said, I want my name on the record. And they said, tell you what, we'll give you $7,500 and we'll put you on everything containing the song with a thank you. You know, thank you to Ray Heffernan, you know. So, because the way they said it to me was, because, you know, we can't put you in the publishing, you know, because that's too complicated. You know what I mean? It's like... But like, as a 22-year-old,
you don't have
of course, you know. And,
Sure, even now in this day and age of everyone, you can find out anything. Even now, still people don't know how important publishing is. Like it's everything. Really.
Yeah, that's where,
especially then when it was selling hard copies of things.
exactly, yeah.
Hard copies were hard copies.
You can't push it in the publishing. That's just a bit complicated. You're like,
I remember people queuing outside music
Yeah,
shops.
of course you wouldn't know. Of course
People
you wouldn't
queuing outside music shops for singles on a Thursday night for the single coming out on Friday mornings. And
I queued up for Joshua Tree, you know what I mean? Because it came out at midnight outside HMV, you know. I said, okay, you know, and they said, look, this is the start of it, you know, we'll do more of this, and, you know, your name will be attached to this, so you'll work with other artists. I'm a young songwriter going, beautiful, you know. I was never really, and I still am that interested in performing. My thing was always writing, you know. I love writing songs and the magic of that, the alchemy of that, you know. So this is my chance to be a songwriter, you know. So I thought, okay, great, thanks a million. And then they said, okay, and your name be attached to it. So then the song came out and I'm ready to go, kind of, you know, okay, that's, you know. So the song hit and straight away it was a boom, you know, this is like, and all of the press releases where he wrote it himself, you know, that was his whole line. So I did an article with some paper saying, you know, I wrote that with Robbie last year, and they fucking came after me saying, you better retract that statement and stuff. You took the money, you
Did you sign something when you took the money?
Yeah. I signed a waiver.
yeah, but you see, if right, listen, if you're told
This is the start and
your name's going to be attached to this, and I mean, you have to understand. So it was $7,500 sterling.
$7,500, yeah.
Right, $7,500 sterling in 1997, boys, is a lot of fucking money.
It's 50 grand.
So it's about 50 grand today's money. If you're in your 20s and you're going through a period of your life, a transitional period, you're just out of the Rutland Centre, you're just trying to find yourself again, you're at a vulnerable part of your life, and somebody says, here's 50 grand, you're going to be a songwriter.
This is only the start of it.
And you know, but you're going to be a songwriter.
22.
Here's 50 grand, you're going to be a songwriter. I'm signing that.
You
9 days of the week.
You
I'm
bite the
9
hand
days of the
off
week,
it.
I'm signing that.
Yeah, and I did. I bit the hand off it, you know. But then as soon as I put that out, so I had to have a retraction printed the following week, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Apologising for what I said. You know, Robbie didn't steal anything from me, you know, and well, no, I never said Robbie stole anything, but you know, we wrote the song together.
Yeah.
Take it back. And like, this was Harbottle and Lewis. This is like London lawyers.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And
I'm just some young fella in Dublin, you know.
So gross. Like it's such a tale of the music industry, isn't it? In a lot of ways.
But you're sitting there, you're sitting there still with a few pound in the bank account, thinking they could come back and take it all. Do you know what I mean? Like
or just, you know, the way they talk to you, like they use legal words, you know what I mean? That you don't really know the meaning of, you know. And anyway, it
But
happened.
it's the fact that they're kind of, as you're going through it, they're kind of reassuring you that this is only the start. Like this is, like, but just sign this now. This is going to be the start of you as a songwriter. Your foot's in the door. Now your name's going to be attached. Blah 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 blah. Whatever it is, once you sign it, and once you've signed it, good luck.
See ya.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That's it.
That's all, by any means necessary.
Yeah, but then I was still playing around Dublin and stuff, and kind of singing Angels instead, which is not Angels. I should be clear about that. Like Angels, dan 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 dan.
Yeah.
That chorus has nothing to do with me.
But the first verse in the bridge. The first
yeah.
verse in the bridge is yours, like
And the
100.
theme, and the theme,
I told you, I sing it at gigs.
Yeah.
He sings it at gigs. We sing it at gigs. When I'm singing the first verse of that song, I'm not singing Angels because I've seen yours so many times.
Oh, really?
I'm singing yours all the time. Like when like I've got no one else to love. That's what I'm singing.
Right. Thank you. Yeah. But it's but the theme of it is there, and like there's since been like forensic studies done, and it's 50%. 50% of the Dublin demo appears on the released version, But like you say, these days it will be okay. We write a song together, you know what I mean, and then I get my mate involved. Let's do it 3 ways.
Yeah,
That's the way.
Yeah.
Now I know how it works. That's the way it should have been done, but I didn't know back then, So that's why it's an unconscionable bargain, is what they call it in legal terms, is when you don't have the knowledge to sign what you're about to sign, and it's kind of a disproportionate what's the word, authority.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was a kid that didn't know what he was signing, so that's
You're not legally represented.
exactly. Like I got some advice from my uncle's real estate lawyer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
It's not the music business, baby. Sell.
but it kind of went on, and then it wasn't. It was a slow build. You know what I mean? It wasn't like instantly a classic. It kind of it didn't go to number 1. It just kind of hung around, and more people started singing it, and it just kind of happened quite slowly. And even his manager in March 99 said, look, they did write it together, but he's been remunerated and he's being paid. So, so it maybe in March 99, $7,500 still seemed like a good deal for what I got. But then, and then the early 2000s, I left Ireland. I moved out of Ireland because it was... I couldn't do anything. Any new music I was doing or any gig I was doing was being billed as Angels writer Robbie Williams, because he was the biggest star in the world and people wanted that on their poster, Yeah. So I thought, fuck this, lads. I'm going to start again, And then I went to live in Italy. Like my missus is Italian, so rather than go over on holiday, I just thought, I was living in Ashbourne, sold the house just before the arse went out of the housing market in 2006, sold up. And went over to live in Italy to get away from it, And then in 2007, I did my own album. 2012, I did another album, and then because of the way it went in 2012, I was really proud of the record. I worked hard and was working with good musicians, and the songs are strong on it. But all of the press was about Angels, So.
And how was Robbie responding to this? Because, like, you have to because I've seen some of the things he said about it, and what I'm thinking is, if you've spent a week or 10 days with someone, you can't. Like, listen, I'm not knocking Robbie Williams. I'll be honest, I love Robbie Williams as a performer. Yeah. I actually went to see him at the Tree Arena I think around 2012, and he did Come Undone, which is one of my favourite.
I think it's his best song.
It's fucking unbelievable.
It's a great song.
And he came out and he did Come Undone, and I was like, this boy has it. Like some people, there are bluffers in the industry, but I was like, this boy has it. As a performer, I was watching him and he's like,
oh yeah,
he's some fucking performer, right?
Second only to Freddie Mercury, I'd say.
That's very fair. Like I'd say that's very fair. But I remember watching him thinking so when I came out and I seen him and just some of the things he said, I was thinking, now that you say this, like, you spend 10 days with someone and he knows. Like, he knows. Mm-hmm. When you know something like that, it's very hard like it must eat somewhere. Like it has to.
Or do you convince yourself otherwise?
Yeah, it's hard to say because it is that thing. Like there's no denying that the song couldn't have been as huge without him. But the fact that he doesn't acknowledge it is so strange. I remember because I remember watching he had a documentary on Netflix recently, and I remember him saying, "Oh, this song didn't go well, that one didn't go well, but I knew I had Angels. This song I made in my back pocket," and I was like, "But you don't." He just doesn't say that. I'm like, what? How do you not like? Even like what is it? I suppose he loses some. He could lose. He's afraid of losing some rights or something. But if they had just done it at the very start and said, "Put your name on
No,
it,"
but it's not that. So we'll get into the because so there is a change in the law now.
yeah,
And we will get into that very shortly. But
maybe it's never admit anything.
I'd say because you see, I'd say the minute he admits it, because I said this to him, there's not a gig that I do if there's a German person in the room, they don't ask for Angels. It is so big in Germany. It's their Bohemian Rhapsody in Germany. It's massive. And what was it? It's the biggest song in Oktoberfest. And
it's the theme of Oktoberfest.
It's the theme of Oktoberfest. So like I'd say for Robbie to turn around and say like, he did like it. I'd say
He did actually write a bit.
Yeah, no, but you know, I'd say you could. I'd
Came
say
up with
you
the
could
idea,
probably,
wrote the verses.
It'd be that scene from The Social Network. You know, I'm not coming back for half. I'm coming back for all of it. You know what I mean? So you better lawyer up, asshole.
But the thing was, back in the early 2000s, we didn't know what Robbie Williams was as a songwriter. Now we have 30 years of his catalogue. That's an anomaly.
Yeah, he's never had another Angels or anything like it. Even.
Or not even the same theme.
No.
Not even the same questioning.
He's even had another ballad that I like.
His career, he tried with Eternity, but it's a weak. It's Angels from Wish.
Timu Angels.
But it starts with his whole career starts with a question: does an angel contemplate my fate? And he's never asked another question in his songwriting again. You know what I mean? Yeah. He doesn't. It's not a question.
It's more a stream of consciousness.
Yeah,
kind of
no,
thing.
it's I know.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? There's no. And even if you look at Angels, you can see the narrative scar where the Dublin demo exists, because does an angel contemplate my fate, and do they know, you know, this world behind the world, this presence that's God. The original lyric was through the waterfall, not down the waterfall, through the waterfall. The image I had was, remember Daniel Day-Lewis, remember Last of the Mohicans?
Yeah, when he's standing behind them.
Stay alive, I will find you.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That's the image, you know, this kind of world behind the world. Down is directional, you know, but in the chorus it just goes to, and through it all, who's she?
Yeah.
No she has been introduced to us, you know what I mean? So in songwriting terms, you know, and a lot of love and affection, that's a completely different theme to the first verse. You know what I mean? It's not love and affection, it's faith and belief and hope, not love and affection.
Yeah, yeah.
And there is no she.
It's kind of crowbarred in there. Yeah.
You know, so there's a clear narrative scar in the writing, but they come back to the anchor of I'm loving angels instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's the hook, you know. But when you look at the writing of it, it's quite obvious that, because it fits on the timeline, you know. So so that was the story, and then so in the early 2000s he was the biggest star in the fucking world, you know. So I was just this one dissonant voice going, you know.
And
so
even back in the early 2000s, before social media, you kind of had to be, you needed to have some outlet, some media outlet was the only place you can get anything out. You have to have like a machine behind you that can publicise anything you have.
You had to pay a publishing company just to get into hot press back in the day.
Yeah.
Like I remember someone telling me that Damien Rice, so he was very lucky because his cousin was David Arnold. Yeah. Who was doing all the arrangements and stuff in England. And I mean, he made O in his bedroom.
Brilliant album.
But O is phenomenal. But when he made O, then he sent it to David Arnold, who put strings on Amy and made these songs.
This Eskimo soprano voice.
Eskimo had monks and all in the background. At the end of it, don't you know I love you and I. But and this was made in some gaff in Selbridge, and then the next thing it's
What an album, what a record.
Oh, unbelievable.
That's
Unbelievable. And listen, I love Damien Rice. I love him. He's kind of my hero. He always was, but Lisa Hannigan is just...
I don't know whether she part angel.
She might be like
She's not, she's kind of got that Peter Gabriel kind of Kate Bush kind of ethereal presence. You know what I mean? When she steps in the room, it's like
just,
she's present.
I
feel the same
vibration
way with Gemma
lightens.
Hayes as well. Yeah, but Lisa Hannigan, what a voice as well.
So the story has kind of changed a little bit, Ray. Now, in that, like, there's been lots of developments. You've come out over the years, and there's been a few things. But this year is, so it's 30 years this year.
Well, 30 years for me, 29 for him.
Okay.
28 for Guy Chambers.
so it's 30 years this year for you, and it's I'm not going to say this is coincidence because it's not coincidence. So there's a new movie now with Paul Rudd and Nick Jonas, and it was filmed in let me just point out the synchronicities or the
The inspiration.
The inspiration. So it's a new movie about Paul Rudd being a songwriter in Dublin who meets a superstar,
An ex-boy band member.
an ex-boy band member. And so it's essentially Paul Rudd plays you in the new movie.
Cool.
Yeah, it's
And
fucking dead.
You know that
it's
question?
very
like,
cool. It's
who do
very
you want
cool.
who do you want to play you in the movie of your life? Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd.
It's pretty good. You can't do much better.
And it's basically, it is based on the story of Angels. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, a friend sent me the trailer. I couldn't believe it had nothing to do with me, and sent me the trailer. It's set in Dublin. Songwriter meets ex-boy band member. They go drinking together. They smoke some joints and do whatever. Go back. The songwriter shows him this idea he has. They don't see each other anymore, and then suddenly the song is his new single, and it's the biggest song. Saves his career. And even I haven't seen the movie yet. I'm dying to see the ending.
Yeah.
Because the guy
We're all dying to see the end.
what happens to him?
I can tell you who won't be at the premiere.
But anyway, so that's wild, So, like we started this talking about the little kind of the world behind the world, and the little, the more I get into this story, the more I age with this, the more sure I am of a resolution.
Yeah.
And the more
So
intrigued I am to see that.
Yeah.
resolution.
how has the law changed?
Oh yeah. Well, in 2019, there was a directive introduced that says that if you sign a contract before the work is released, and then the money you accepted becomes disproportionate compared to the money's made by the work, you can renegotiate that contract. You know? So it's kind of like we said, music business is full of stories like mine.
Yeah.
And I've become kind of the poster boy for people like this. So I've been contacted over the years by loads of people who have been through a similar experience. So it's for them and for that community, that small army of songwriters or artists or photographers or stuff. There's a really cool documentary on Netflix called The Stringer. Have you seen it?
It sounds familiar. No.
You know that photo from the photo?
Oh
from
yes, I
Vietnam?
have seen it. Of the girl who with the
napalm,
napalm
girl,
the naked girl.
Yeah.
And it was some famous photographer.
This guy got the Nobel Peace Prize. He got the not the Nobel Peace Prize, but Nobel Prize for photography or something. And
It's the most famous image from the
Oh no,
Vietnam
I've seen
War.
it. Yeah,
it
yeah.
stopped the war.
Yeah.
It stopped the war.
Yeah.
That image. He didn't take it.
He didn't take it. It wasn't. It was actually a stringer, somebody working like
Local
freelance
guy. Yeah.
that took the picture.
But
and
like
he
it's
took the credit.
similar beats to mine. But anyway, the world of art is full of this story.
Well, funny, just while we're here, I just want to give a shout out because Fenton McManus passed away last week. And Fenton McManus is a cousin of Pat McManus. They had a band called Mama's Boys back in the day. They were very big. And Fenton McManus was an incredible Irish musician. And he wrote an Irish tune that he never copyrighted because he didn't know anything about copyright. And they used it on everything. They used it in ads. They used it in films. They used it in whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of it. But Fenton passed away last week, and he was an incredible man, an incredible musician. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Fenton. But I remember that story about Fenton that he never copyrighted it. And I remember me and him talking about copyright back in the day, and he said at the time Now listen, I'm not gonna go into IMRO or whatever, but he said at the time it was very hard to govern how a musical body was paying the royalties. No, but he said back in the day, this was before the internet, this was before we had digital. He said it was just on paper. So I mean, you could have an artist maybe on the board of IMRO, who wouldn't be that big an artist, but making obscene royalties, just every year. No, I'm not saying that happened. Legally, I'm not saying any. I'm not
any
saying
fuckery
that
went down.
I'm not, or I'm not saying it happened. But I remember talking to him back in the day, and he was like, you've members of boards of ASCAP and IMRO and BMI and all these mechanical royalty organisations making lots of money.
It happened in Italy. The CI is the Italian one. And some of the board members had bank accounts in Switzerland with millions.
Do you know what I mean?
They say we talked about it recently. There's the fella out of ABBA started a thing called cosign. It's to find, because all the royalties that don't get collected, they get put in some, they call it the big black hole.
Yeah.
That it's left there in perpetuity. And of course, there's people who probably can find ways of getting it to run downhill to them.
Oh yeah,
of course.
There's probably a bit of that going on. But yeah, it's because in general, creative people are not the most analytical and in terms of, because I know even putting up a song on IMRO and registering it as a work is like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's
to find the CAE number and all this. It's not what you want to be doing as a creative person.
But anyway, this new directive seeks to resolve that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it became law in 2022. So that was pointed out to me by a lawyer friend, when I looked into it, because there was a legal argument in the past where it was an unconscionable bargain, or to my capacity at the time, I was in the Rutland Centre, was I able to sign it? But I never felt comfortable with that because I was happy with it.
Yeah.
I wasn't out of my mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I thought this was the start of my career, so I didn't really because specifically he has always attacked my credibility. I didn't want to help him.
Yeah.
I never wanted to say, yeah, you're right, I was stupid, I shouldn't have signed the contract. But when this came in, I thought, well, when you read the wording of the law, you might as well put in brackets at the end,
The
a
Heffernan
bit
law.
like Ray Heffernan,
The Heffernan law, it'll be called.
And then I thought, well, in 2013, I decided I never wanted to talk about this again, you know what I mean? Because I saw that any interview I was doing was just helping him. I did a run of press to promote a gig I had here in Ireland, and then all of the questions were about Robbie Williams. And the next week, they were in the same publications were selling tickets to the Robbie Williams gig. Yeah. So I thought, okay, it's just creating a conversation and then selling tickets. So I'm not interested in that anymore. Until he came out and called me a liar, on some podcast or something, and that's when I thought, hang on. So anyway, 2022, this guy's this lawyer friend explained this law to me, and it just makes sense that like I was saying to you, as I age, the more sure I am of this resolution, and I'm really intrigued to see how it will work out. Maybe through this, but I'm sure it will either way. Yeah. But yeah, they call it the bestseller clause, and I think because lawyers want to test litigation, they want to test legislation. And they want to put their name to that. Lawyers started contacting me. You know what I mean? So that's what
I would say that your case would be what do they call it in law when something's like a precedent?
Yeah, that's
a precedent case. Yeah. So it's funny.
So there's risk with that. You know what I mean? Because it depends on which jurisdiction, which reading of the law. That's why Germany came up, because Germany is very author friendly. Yeah, and it's such a big song in Germany as well. So I've spoken to some German lawyers. But it's a world that I don't enjoy. It's a lexicon that I don't have. I don't have these words. Yeah, You
just really need someone who's an expert in it to just
take it away and do it. Someone you trust as well. Because that's the hard part.
But it's funny how the universe works, because it seems like you were kind of caught between a rock and a hard place. Like you'd said, you didn't want to talk about it ever again, and then a law comes into existence that's basically the exact story.
Talk about this.
It just unfolds exactly. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's crazy how that works. I know. But even in the meantime, as our lives take these journeys, as you said, you were sick of it, so you moved to Italy, and what you've done over there in terms of, I was listening to you on another podcast, in terms of like using music to teach language and working with kids
That's
and stuff. You know, it's out.
Yeah,
Of course, anyone who had this happen to them would be wondering what if or whatever. But the beauty of the life he created in the meantime, and now you can come back to the angels thing.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Well, and I think that's something that like the language learning thing is fascinating, but this movie was a weird experience for me. This John Carney movie, because it's for the first time that I realized, okay, that story just exists now.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. That's just Dublin music folklore.
Yeah.
So it's not me saying it. You know what I mean. It's not mine anymore.
it's an archetypal
Yeah,
story
it's
now.
like a story.
Yeah,
So
a music
I really feel
business
like, okay,
story.
I can go to that movie and watch the movie and enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, and just have a laugh at it rather than, you know, feel constantly
Identifying as it.
defensive
Yeah,
about it.
yeah.
You know, like even like when I saw in Crow Park when they sang Angels, like Robbie himself said that it was the best ever rendition of Angels, I think, or the best ever audience he ever had singing that song. Of course.
Of course it was. We were
Of
drinking in
course
the
it was.
Tolka house
Yeah.
right there. If you go
Crow
outside the
Park,
gate,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
if
yeah.
you
I
go
went to
outside the gate, we
O'Connell's.
were drinking
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
that bubbled up out of the ether right there.
It's like Chianti tastes best in Chianti.
yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
Yeah.
Guinness tastes best in Dublin.
Yeah, yeah.
That song sounds best
In Dublin.
because that's where it came from.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
streets is where it came from, and it really, for the first time, any time. I mean, my sisters will tell you, and like in our family, he's not a popular man, but you know, as soon as Angels comes on, you switch.
Have you seen him live?
Yeah, a couple of times. Right at the start. Like that moment in the movie where Paul Rudd is and everyone's singing a song. That happened to me. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
And like, you know, it's wild. And you start to, did I write that? You know, did I make that up? You know?
Yeah, yeah.
When everyone else is kind of like applauding this guy in Slane, and you kind of doubt yourself. You know what I mean? You really do. And you want to kind of be nice, don't you? You don't want to be dissonant. You don't want to be argumentative.
Yeah, if people love it, you want to let people love it. Yeah,
exactly. But
yeah.
and I never wanted to be an obstacle to people enjoying the song, because I know a lot of people have an emotional attachment to that song.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you see, this is the thing, and it's what it all comes down to, because it's so simple for them from the beginning to just put Heffernan there. But what you have to, like, for us to say that, right? But to them, that's probably going to cost them $5 million. Do you know?
But they didn't. Yeah.
No, I know they didn't know that, but they have to think of all possible outcomes, and they were like, "Well, we can't put Heffernan there because if we do, it's probably going to cost us millions," which it did inevitably. But at the same time, it would have been such a simple thing to do. It would have been such a simple thing to do.
Or all I've ever asked him, and we have never spoken directly. Like, I mean, we during COVID we had some Instagram interaction, you know, where we're kind of warming to each other, you know, and maybe all I've ever asked, let's do another one. Let's write another one together.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you're the biggest fucking star in the world.
Yeah.
Do me that favor.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No. Because then to do that would be to recognize me and to acknowledge that I'm a writer,
yeah.
you know, and then maybe, just maybe, his listeners will go, there's something in that song that has the same code as Angels, you know? Because songs are coded, you know.
We're going to write a song. It's called Devils.
You can hear it, Once you, and especially if when you've got someone's
Ghosts.
whole catalogue, like 30 years of a catalogue, and there's one, Angels is like, it stands alone. If he'd released another one, and you could tell that was of a similar
code,
starting place.
you know, songs are coded. Like when you hear Mystery Girl sung by Roy Orbison, you can hear Bono and the Edge in it because they wrote it. You know what I mean? When you hear Love Yourself by Justin Bieber, you can hear Ed Sheeran.
I know you can, 100%.
You know?
Yeah, you definitely
Songs are
can.
coded.
Yeah.
You know?
have a songwriting style.
You know?
But I believe that, like, I don't know if you've said you listened to a few episodes. I believe that dualities are collapsing, and what that means.
Drink. I don't know how he was going to. I didn't know how he was going to work it in this
What
week.
that means to me is,
Drink.
I think that the world, all
So
the
every time he says the dualities are
I know,
collapsing, you have to drink.
I was waiting for
I
our
think-
show.
Osho as well. He's on the same lines. But what I feel like is the things that separate us, like the dualities, like the male, female, good, bad. Everything's becoming less black and white and more grey, transparent. So as we see, like even things like the state of the Trump and all at the minute, like it's America have always been doing that stuff, but now it's like now it's in your face, told like without any pretense to be like some hero thing. So I feel the world's becoming more transparent, and it's going to be like things that were hidden away in the darkness, secrets, are going to come to light. They're going to have to, because I think we're coming to another point of consciousness where it has to be done like that. Now, this will cause a lot of chaos, and that's why I believe you're right. It will come to a resolution of this, and what resolution is, I don't know, but I think you're right. I think it will come to I think we're entering an age of more transparency.
Like, realistically, I sang it at karaoke when I was 12 in Innisgrown in Sligo. And I mean, you'd probably get a couple of cents for that as well. You know what I mean? Just like, it's everything.
Well, if you have it on you.
You have to get the dart back. We have to send Robbie some as well.
I ran into Johnny Logan once in a sauna. In Ashbourne. I was sitting there, and Johnny Logan walks in, and he goes, I said, I'm Ray Heffernan. He says, Angels, yeah. He says, I probably owe you a few quid. I said, well, if you have it on.
I wouldn't keep it. Don't know where I'd keep it in the sauna. The German saunas are another next level. You're not allowed to wear anything in there. It's the rule in Germany.
Oh, is it, yeah?
Yeah,
and some place in Holland as well.
So the Germans, you have to be completely transparent, and that's maybe this is the case to bring to Germany.
Yeah. Naked court.
Going in naked.
Naked court.
Yeah,
bring it on.
But I wanted to talk a bit, if you have time, is just how you moved to Italy and how you found out how you could teach language through music.
Yeah. No, that's kind of happened over a few years. I was, you know yourself, I was given a few guitar lessons, and one of the mothers of the kids said, look, would you come in and teach some music in the local school? But I'm not a guitar teacher, I kind of, my music teaching style was, that's G, go home for 6 months, play that, and then when you're good at that, come back to me. That was my kind of stuff.
Mine too. I tried it for a while as well. It was similar.
You do it to make a few quid. But then, so I went into school and I thought, okay, I'll just try writing songs. You know what I mean? So then it became a thing where, okay, like, we come on, today is snowing. Snow. Who knows a word that rhymes with snow? Yeah. So you're talking to the kids and they're saying go, flow, show, you know, whatever. So then you just Lego up a song, and just get them singing it back. So we're working on pronunciation. We're looking at grammar structures, and they're understanding where words go in the Lego of English. And then you can put whatever objectives you want, on every level. And then I was asked to do it in prisons, and I was working with people, prisoners, in Milan. And then I got asked to do it in Amsterdam to French kids, so I'm kind of doing Italian, French, and English, kind of putting all these songs together. And then I got asked back to France to do it. And it just became a thing, out of nowhere. So then when COVID hit and there was no music anywhere, I was just online doing these lessons,
good stuff.
And writing songs with kids.
Because it almost goes back to like the islands thing. Like when learning a language can be so deep. I know for me, like my missus is German, I'm useless trying to learn it. But as we were saying at the start, music is an anchor that brings you to a place. So if you learn something through music, it's more likely to stick.
Especially if you wrote it, especially if you were part of you were there, you know what I mean? It's yours. You were creative. If we're just teaching to memory, then you will remember as far as the exam. And then your brain just lets it go because it's not required anymore. It's not the brain works. Like, if it's your own kind of appropriated creativity, then it's yours forever. You know what I mean? Because that's language. We don't like people say, you should learn a language so you're thinking in that language. I don't think so. I think you should be able to speak the language without thinking. You know what I mean? You're bypassing the mind, and you're just kind of got a direct link with the communication.
You've just found you've found the patterns in that language that are different, and they just come naturally over time.
Exactly. So you're not
like
thinking.
Anything you do unconsciously.
So that's what you're trying to create with these kind of patterns and kind of it's a way, it's teaching, it's called context learning rather than memory learning. You create a context and you can fill that well with whatever information you want once you've created the context. And then when these kids will then go to Dublin or go to New York and their brain recognizes an English speaking context, it goes to that well. And it goes to those structures, and
it's almost like a bridge between, There's a famous quote about Einstein saying you can't judge a fish by how it climbs a tree, because some people are more intellectually based and some people are more creative based, and that's what you found there is a little bridge between the two. I love that. That's the duality's collapsing, right?
Drink again, drink, you be twisted.
So I love it. I because I remember I listened to the podcast you did about it, and I thought it was really
it's
inspiring.
interesting. It's interesting stuff. Yeah.
And if not for getting fucked over by angels, you might never have gone to do that. You know what I mean?
True.
Every door closed opens a window, and it's part of the journey. And
you know yourself, like with songs to me is legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The first time I wrote a song, I realized that this melody that had just come to me will outlive me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Whatever song, it wasn't a great song, it was shite, but like I just thought, okay, I just want to do that now. That's all I want to do. I'll just get better at this.
Yeah.
You know? So what the Angels situation has given me is like kind of like that story that people want to tell.
Yeah.
You know, and then hopefully they'll get to hear some of my other songs and listen to them and stuff. And because I honestly think Angels is an anomaly in his catalogue. It fits okay in mine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's the same kind of questioning, the same kind of world. But yeah, songs is legacy.
It's more like what's the word? Not macro. It's trying to look at the world for meaning more than like tell a story of being like day-to-day stuff.
Yeah. Or shouting slogans over someone else's music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is his writing style. Like, you know, and we didn't get into AI, but I heard him say recently that it's over because, you know, AI is taking over the songwriting as well.
Yeah.
It's over if you shout slogans over someone else's music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, it's like that. The best analogy I've heard of it is like there's IKEA where you can go and buy the flat pack furniture, but people will still want a custom made. You know, that's how it's going to go.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of help with AI stuff. Like I find like with not with writing the song, but with Logic here I have. So I'd write a song on the guitar, and I'd have the chords. I make a chord chart, and I put it into Logic to a click track, and then I can use the AI in it to make a bass line or a piano line or drums that goes in that chord structure, and then I can go in and move the notes separately.
Yeah.
So it's almost like having a session player with you because we're living in an age, unfortunately, where you can't afford to.
Absolutely.
If you're going to release music, to pay for a session player, you have to be signed.
Absolutely.
A signed artist.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, I find is a good use of it, and also for stuff like the thumbnail for our podcast, we get AI to do that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. But
That's just because we're not graphic designers.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I did, in a way, like it's like a hammer. It can be used to build a house or smash someone's head in. You know.
But that's it. And like, you know, we've been using reverbs for years.
Yeah.
You know, we don't live in a church.
Yeah,
you know
exactly.
What I mean? It's like these are AI created, artificially intelligence created
spaces.
But the songs are shite. The AI songs are shite.
Yeah.
You know, like you'll know an AI song as soon as you hear it. Do you know what I mean? And do you know something? A lot of lads are doing it now. A lot of lads are writing Irish folk songs as AI.
Yeah.
And it's all the same thing. I went down to Dublin town. You would see when you're around. You know what I mean? Molly Malone on solid ground. Fuck off. Like, but it's the...
I know. And, you know, I don't think, I haven't heard anything that it has done lyrically that is in any way convincing.
Yeah,
You know,
it's not. It's not. It's like there's prompts like that are kind of. It's just very generic. But I like like the duality between man and machine. I think that there is like a place to collaborate. There's a sweet spot in there, and we're still finding our way in it. But I think that it's not like anything AI is terrible to me anyway.
No, don't get me wrong. Like I've done demos with AI just to hear what they sound, and the demo would cost me $5,000.
Yeah.
Oh,
you know what I mean? With studios and the best musicianship you've ever heard played by the most beautiful instruments and the most beautiful reverbs and like great. Use it like that to beautify stuff. Great. Yeah. If we're using it to create, that's a worry.
That's a great way of putting it. Yeah. Just because it's going to take all the jobs anyway, but it's the same with mixing and mastering stuff that's really difficult for. Like I release my own music, mix it and master it, produce it myself. It's very difficult to find any objectivity in it because you get sick of it and it takes all the motivation away. If you can write the song and then have AI polish it up for you, I think
right,
that's
I fucking hate AI. No, I detest it. I hate everything about it. I just I have a specific scene in my head of Bruce Springsteen in a studio with one of his songs hitting a drum. And he kept hitting it, and he kept moving the microphone. And I think he hit it for like 7 hours until he got the sound that he wanted to at the beginning of Born in the USA. That, and he kept just going again, and he'd move the microphone, again, and it was 7 hours until he got that sound. Yeah. And he just kept hitting the drum, and he just kept hitting the drum, and he just kept hitting the drum. And he lost himself completely in hitting that fucking drum. But eventually...
Said the engineer was delighted as well.
No, the engineer...
It only cost 60 grand.
No, but you know what I mean? Like, but it's like, it's that, and like... And I know it does cost a fortune for players and stuff like that.
So when your next gig in the Netherlands, you'll be taking the Titanic over there.
No, but you know what I mean. It's just I'm a fan of analog.
Yeah,
like
there's definitely something to be said for it.
Absolutely, no. There is that side of the argument. You know, you're like the two devils on my shoulder. No, I agree with you. And I wrote a song recently with Declan O'Rourke. You know Declan O'Rourke?
Of course. Another hero.
Yeah,
so,
superb.
Marrying the Sea till death do us part.
It's a work of art. He's an O'Rourke of art, if you will. But we were, and I said, look, because we were writing a song to pitch it to a certain pop act, and I said, look,
Jedward.
Not about it. I'm sure they have their own market, but so I said, well, we do this, like we write the song, just put it through this, and they put it in their world, and we can just do it. And he said, but what, you're taking the fun out of it then? You know what I mean? He said,
yeah.
And like with the language learning stuff as well, what AI does is it steals the doing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is what we do, which is what we come back to.
Yeah.
It's not the finished work.
Yeah.
We want to create. It's the doing of it.
Yeah.
It's the making of it. You know?
Yeah.
What do you personally think of Galileo?
I think it's in my top 10 songs of all time.
Yeah, it's the same. I know Paul Weller said, like, so they asked Paul Weller if you could ever have written any song ever, what would it be? And he said Galileo.
Yeah. No, we started talking about Landslide. I think it's in that category.
Yeah.
But that's but as we did start talking about Landslide and how it's about holding on to something that can't be held on to, I think holding on to not using AI is part of the landslide's already here. So it's going to be how we integrate it in. And
no, I go down with this ship.
He's going. I
go down with this ship.
Yeah. Bury me here.
I'm going to be Amish.
No, there's, and I think, once we do get a handle on the AI and how to use it and how to, rather than just let it do everything, and how to use it, I think we will go back to the Tom Waits style writing. Yeah. Like, I love that story of Tom Waits, that he was supposed to turn it. He was supposed to be in the studio on a Monday morning to record a new album. The record company were putting pressure on him. He didn't turn up for 10 days, and eventually got in touch when he was drinking out in LA. And this new album? He says, check the tapes. He had broken into the studio the night before he was supposed to be there, recorded the fucking album, and then just set it up, and it's one of the best albums.
That's magic. That's a bit of magic story. Yeah.
Oh, he was class. Yeah. They were asking about his drinking, and he said, I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy.
Yeah. Beautiful.
That's beautiful wordsmanship.
No, he's great. But yeah.
So I think that's how it's going with the AI. It's going to be like everything else. It's scary when it comes in, and then it becomes normal.
I think it will take the world. I think it will.
It'll change the economy.
It'll take over employment.
Yeah.
I think we'll end up on a universal basis.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on it as well. And which, I mean, it sounds scary, but not like a full socialism. There'll be still gig economies and ways to make money and things, but just basic needs will have to be taken care of, I think, because of how much it's going to change jobs.
That'll cost less.
Yeah.
And but I see it even in education. Like, teachers are going in, like, prepare me a class for B2 English and in a conversational style, and these are my objectives.
Yeah.
And then you give the kids homework, and they're going, do my homework in this thing. So we've just created this loop where education will be a VR, virtual reality.
You can basically call up any knowledge you need anytime you need it. So why would you need to actually memorize the knowledge? Because you can actually.
Like, can you imagine taking it? Like, I need to get back into Dublin. Like, where's my map? Unfolding a map.
Jesus, imagine.
You know what I mean?
I could not survive without Google Maps. Like,
No,
I'm
no.
useless.
Nobody can.
We want to say thanks a million to Ray for coming today, making the trip down, and for
All the way from Italy.
All the way
All
from
the way from
Italy.
Italy.
Yeah.
Just to be here.
Imagine.
Ray's only over for a couple of days.
For now, I'm going to fly home in an hour. Helicopter pickup.
That's how you know the Temple Bar podcast is becoming big time.
Yeah, you're
We're
right.
flying people in from continental
That
Europe now at
cost
this
a
stage.
fortune.
Well, Ray, you were a guest that I've wanted to have on for a long
you,
time.
man. Me too, yeah.
And you're an absolute gent.
Thank you, man.
And
Jesus.
I really hope the outcome of this court case, or the outcome of everything about the law changing it, I really hope it goes in your favour, and I hope you get everything settled in that, like, you get the recognition for what you did. Because, you know, when you do something, especially something so big, and as you said, to stand in a crowd of so many people singing a song that was in your head in a room before it was anywhere else, you know, that's something that would feel, to me, I'd be like, fuck yes. Like, you know, but in a way, like, it's so beautiful, and I'd be like, I mean, so I'll actually, funny enough, it's not similar, but Craig David spoke about before he was famous, and he said that he was at Notting Hill Carnival, and his song came on, and this was before he was famous, and somebody played it, and everybody started singing it, and they were like, I got 21 seconds to go, and he was standing there going like, that's me, and he was looking, but it was, he hadn't got a record deal at the time, and his song was after blowing up underground, on the underground scene. So he's in the middle of Notting Hill Carnival, everybody's singing this song, the DJ's just spun it on vinyl, and he's going, that's me, like, and he's looking around at women and all going, that's me, and they're like, yeah. But I mean, to stand in such a big crowd and have everybody sing Angels, and you know that's an angel instead. I really hope you get the recognition.
Thank you, man. Thank you. I think because it's angels, you know, when you say, like, I wrote a song for Robbie Williams. Which one? Ain't fuck off.
You mean this song?
Yeah.
I wrote this song for Robbie Williams.
Like, I wish it was some B-side on some record, you know what I mean? Because they've got a nice one, you know, but yeah.
Yeah,
Listen,
it'd be less polarized.
I think as a songwriter, as musicians, all we want is harmony, you know what I mean? I think this story will eventually become one of resolution and harmony, I hope.
That's a beautiful way to end it, I think.
Should have been a priest, shouldn't I?
Should have been a priest. Well, I think you've handled it with the grace of a priest. Anyway, I think there's a lot of people that it could have sent them down many spirals of self-destruction and all. But no, I think you've taken it and done something positive with it. And I do believe that we're coming into a world of more transparency, and this will come to a resolution. So that's it for episode 72 of the Temple Bar podcast. Let us know what you think. Let us know what you think the outcome of this whole court case should be, and go and follow Ray anywhere you can, and look at his other music because it's fantastic.
Thanks a million for coming in, Ray.
Thanks a million, lads.
That's it for episode 72 of the Temple Bar podcast with me, Jim Wynn, and Philip Noone. Stay belled, sláinte.
Deadly.